Now let's see the nerve supply of the soft palate. When we talk about the motor nerve supply, all the muscles of the soft palate are supplied by the cranial part of the accessory nerve through the pharyngeal plexus, except the tensor veli palatini muscle, which is supplied by the trunk of the mandibular nerve through the otic ganglion without relay carrying the fibers from the nerve to medial pterygoid muscle. When we talk about the secretomotor fibers to the soft palate, the preganglionic fibers arises from the superior salivatory nucleus. Then it will passes successively through the facial nerve, greater petrosal nerve, nerve to pterygoid canal. Then it will relay into the pterygopalatine ganglion and form the pterygopalatine ganglion. Postganglionic fibers, they will passes through the greater palatine nerve and the lesser palatine nerve to the palatine glands. So here in this pathway till the pterygopalatine ganglion, this is the preganglionic fibers, and these are the postganglionic fibers. Now when we see the sensory supply of the soft palate, we have to consider into general sensation and the special sensation of the taste. General sensations will be carried out by greater and lesser palatine nerves as well as the glossopharyngeal nerves, that is the ninth cranial nerve, while the special sensation of the taste will be carried by the facial nerve via the greater petrosal nerve. So this is all about the nerve supply of the soft palate. You can pause this image and revise the nerve supply of the soft palate. It is very important for the examination purpose. Now let's see the arterial supply of the soft palate. The arteries to the soft palate, they are from the external carotid arteries and having three branches. One branch is from the greater palatine branch of the maxillary artery. Second one, it is the ascending palatine branch of the facial artery. And the third one, it is from the palatine branch of the ascending pharyngeal artery. So all this maxillary artery, facial artery as well as the pharyngeal ascending pharyngeal artery, these arteries are the branches from the external carotid arteries from where the palatine branches will supply the soft palate. The veins will drain into pharyngeal venous plexus via the paratonsillar veins, and the lymphatic drainage of the soft palates will drain into the retropharyngeal lymph nodes as well as in the upper group of the deep cervical lymph node. Now let's see the arrangement of the structures of the soft palate above downwards. Most upper portion of the soft palate is lined by the mucous membrane, which is in the anterior part lined by this pseudostratified ciliated columnar epithelium, and on the posterior half it is going to line by the non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelium. Just underneath the mucous membrane there will be a layer of the glands will be there. Below the layer of this palatine gland we will find the muscular layer having three structures, and these three structures, these are the anterior fasciculus of the palatopharyngeus and posterior fasciculus of the palatopharyngeus, and in between the two there will be the levator veli palatini muscle. Below this layer of this anterior and posterior fasciculus of palatopharyngeus and levator palatini, we will find the palatine aponeurosis, which is split in the midline to enclose the musculus uvuli. and below the palatine aponeurosis we will find one palatoglossus muscle. Below the palatoglossus muscle we will find the layer of the palatine gland which is toward the oropharynx. And the most lowest part of the soft palate, it is the mucous membrane of the buccal surface. So we can say the arrangement of the structures of the soft palate, it is the palatine aponeurosis in the midline, which is split into two by the musculus uvuli, having a muscle layer above by the palatopharyngeus with the two fasciculus, and in between the two fasciculus there will be levator veli palatini, and below the palatine aponeurosis there is one muscle layer, that is the palatoglossus muscle, and on the both the side of the muscle layers we will find the palatine glands layer, and most superficially on the above and below there will be the mucous membrane from the nasopharyngeal surface on the upper side and the mucous membrane of the buccal surface on the lower side. Now let's see the development of the palate briefly. Here we can see the palate having two parts. One is the primitive palate, which is like this. This primitive palate includes the both the sided incisor tooth, and this wedge shaped area, it is called as the primitive palate. And the posterior part of the hard palate and as well as the soft palate, it is the permanent palate. This primitive palate, it is going to develop from the globular swellings of the median nasal process with the fusion of the maxillary processes, what we are going to see shortly. And this permanent palate, it is going to form by the fusion of the both the sided palatine processes of the maxilla. Junction of the both the primitive and the permanent palate. This fusion of this vertical limb of the permanent palate, it is from before backward. From this permanent palate, anterior 3/4 part, it ossifies and it remains as the hard palate, while the posterior 1/4 part, it remains unossified and it remains as the soft palate like this. So now let's see the embryological figure to understand the development of the palate. Here we can see this is the frontonasal process, and this green structure, it is the maxillary process, and this area, it is the mandibular process. So as the development progresses, this frontonasal process, it divides into two portions. This is the median nasal process, and laterally there will be the lateral nasal process. Here the maxillary process grows faster on the both the sides, and with the further development of the face, this median nasal process, it forms the septum of the nose, as well as these lateral nasal processes, they form the ala of the nose, while the maxillary processes, they further grows inward to reach towards the lateral nasal processes from both the sides. Now let's see this figure where we can see the development of the palate from the removal of the tongue as well as the lower jaw. So here these two processes are the maxillary processes which are growing inwards, and here this structure, it is the median nasal process. And before the complete fusion of all these parts, this structure, what we are able to see from the oral cavity, this is the nasal septum. Now with the further progress of the development, we can see these maxillary processes, they come nearer to each other and going to fuse with this median nasal process. And here with the further development, here we can see the complete development of the palate, where this structure is going to form the primitive pellet, and this structure, maxillary processes from the both the side, they are going to form the permanent pellet. Now within this permanent pellet, this anterior 3/4 part, it is going to form the hard pellet, while this posterior 1/4 part, it is remain unossified and going to form the soft pellet. The common developmental anomaly of the pellet, it is the cleft pellet, where the components of the pellet, they are not going to fuse properly. And this cleft pellet is divided into 4 degrees depending upon the severity, where the first degree into this posterior 1/4 part, it remains unfused and the uvula, it is bifid. In case of second degree, this permanent pellet, it is not going to fuse with each other and the cleft remains between the two components of the permanent pellet. In case of third degree, along with this permanent pellet unfused part, the one-sided non-fusion of the permanent pellet as well as the primitive pellet. While in case of the fourth degree severity of the cleft pellet, the remaining second sided primitive pellet, it is not going to fuse with the permanent pellet. So there are 4 degrees of the severities with the cleft pellets are there. So it is all about the pellet. Hope you understand well. Thanks for watching.